Welcome back here at 2021 NXL Lone Star Amateur Open. We're here at Giant Party Sports, a little north of Dallas, Texas. I'm Matty Marshall with Rich Telford, and here in the D4 division, it's going to be SLT taking on Hostile Ground. First time we've seen, well, actually second time, sorry, that we've seen both these squads. SLT coming out of Utah, and they had a pretty good game against Barland Blanco, overtime tie.
Yeah, it was a really good game.
Yeah, and SLT, you know, yeah, they looked pretty good. Hostile Ground also ended up tying against Desmadre. So both these teams sitting at 0-0-1 right now, starting out day one of the Lone Star Amateur Open. So because of the two ties, Rich, kind of tough to tell who has the advantage in this one.
Nope, but they both need to win this match.
Hostile Ground on your right here, and the red jerseys all black.
Back out, Snake 1, Dorito 3. They do lose one other back center and draw a penalty on that. So 2 players down for Hostile Ground, 3 players down for Hostile Ground.
Yeah, this is a terrible break here for Hostile Ground. SLT taking all of the real estate here, and those off-the-break shots is dialed in. Should be pretty easy first point for them.
Yeah, especially with Hostile Ground, only 2 players both looking Dorito side.
Yeah, and then as far as damage control, a little bit here, as one kill is going to be coming off. One death for SLT.
They all just figured out, though, that there's only one guy left alive, and he's on the Snake side.
Yeah, those bodies did come off pretty quick, but it's not going to matter. As I say, sometimes the bodies come off quick. It's tough to tell what the count's going to be, but
especially first point in, you're like, what, are you sure it's G2, G3, G4?
Yeah, but yeah, that was about as easy as a first point is going to get with no penalties.
Yep. And again, this is not a split deck scenario, right? This is the same team's going to be coming back out here.
Yeah, I think we're just going to be watching SLT and Hostile Ground.
So they paid a little extra for this. So they basically get the whole deck for themselves.
Yeah,
just
can we get
double coverage?
Yeah, can we get the one where it's just all us?
We want double coverage.
Yeah, and so the story with these two squads, SLT looks like they have a pretty skeleton crew. I saw 6 guys on the roster,
Oof,
and
so
they've
tough.
only played, at least from what I had online, I was doing my homework, looks like they've only played Vegas NXLs.
Interesting.
As far as NXL is concerned.
Where are they from? Utah?
Utah.
Oh.
But they've done pretty well. 2018 a 5th place, a 2nd place in 2019, and then a 3rd in 2020. So when they do show up to the NXLs, seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah. Sounds like they should probably play some more.
Yeah, and then Hostile Ground have done well in regional events, taken some first places there, and they also took a first place in the NXL Chicago back in 2017. They did play Vegas in 2020, but a 22nd for them. So
We talked about earlier, right? Could be the same name in a whole different roster.
yeah, that's just, again, it's so tough to keep a consistent roster together,
That
period.
is the hardest thing in paintball at any level.
Yeah.
You know, you can even ask my friend Greg Pauly about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you can have everything going your way and something outside of your control, like getting a key win or something happens, and it's just so hard to keep those camps together, man.
Yeah, it is. We're in Texas. To me, you know, you got the AC camp, right? And AC Dallas getting dismantled. Going to have to completely reboot for them. But AC Diesel, really looking forward to seeing what AC Diesel is going to do here in 2021. I really think they have a chance to go deep into some
Honestly,
Sundays.
Man, like, I don't have enough good things to say about those guys. Like, they're young, they're aggressive, they're like hard to scout because they're always doing different things out there. They've got a bunch of athletic guys, and you know, they play the 10-mans. You know, they love paintball, and they play a lot of paintball. And I can't say enough good things about those guys.
Yeah, but there's a situation where they have been able to keep a pretty decent crew together, with Mark Johnson really, you know, doing all he can to put the best, most qualified guys out there, and you know, now making a run and then looking like they could have a decent 2021. But
Ooh, I like that breakout to the corner for SLT. Then with Snake corner and Snake, so they got a guy in attack position and a second guy over here to attack in the same position. If the first guy goes forward, he's somehow being held back in Snake 1 though.
yeah, so Hostile Ground now on your right. We're looking over their shoulders. Sorry, SLT on your right. Hostile Ground in better field position currently, though, as they have a body all the way up into Snake 3. So a little bit more tentative here for SLT with a 1-point lead. Now going to be crawling up into Snake 3, and definitely has to worry about an angle cross field, but not from that position. Should be blocked out from that deep 3 spot.
Yeah, it was the can on the drill side that was putting pressure on him when he was in Snake 1 batting. But going forward, that guy has no shot on him now, so good move from him. And Hostile Ground has got a Dorito 3, a Dorito 4 over there, so 2 guys in attacking position on the Dorito side, 1 guy in attack position on the Snake side, 1 guy behind defensively. Hostile Ground going forward, 2 on both tapes.
And mirroring up that move now here, SLT in a good spot. Looking cross field, both of them mirrored up and at the 40-yard lines, and both gunned up down the sideline. So it is a little blocked out though with the with that 50-yard line.
Yeah, you cannot see each other when you're in those wings unless you stand up and shoot on the top of it or go inside. I've only seen 1 guy go inside, and that was Betancourt. He made a great move going inside. You can see the SLT players thinking about it now. He's like, can I wrap around?
I think he saw a little shadow from our overhead cam and reacted to that for a second. Oh, but he's going to crawl right up into the lane. Yeah, D4 and moved up, and he's going to get that kill crossfield. So that's a nice kill here from Hostile Ground, trying to put a point on the board to tie with 9:12 to go.
I love the SLT guy trying to sneak up in there and get creative, but he had no idea that Dorito 4 was hot, just sitting there looking for him, so he just crawled into that guy's gun. The guy's like, oh my God, is that guy crawling on the ground in the open?
Well, it's the battle for, it's like that. It's that battle for position,
for
right?
sure.
So just Hostile Ground playing the aggressor and taking the initiative and able to get in there and lock that angle down early. Unfortunately for Hostile Ground, they are going to be losing their snake player. So that attack is going to be taken right up there, Rich. So it's looking pretty good right now for Hostile Ground over on that on the snake side. Yeah. So yeah, but this is a little bit of a slower.
Yeah, it's one of our first really good points where we're kind of like mirrored up. Everyone's in good spots. No one's dying early. Good cross-field communication. Everyone's played the field long enough now. I feel like they have a good feeling. Oh, of course, as I say that, Hostile Ground loses another attack on the Dorito side. SLT's moving down the Dorito side. They're all the way now onto Hostile side of the field in Dorito. Oh, they lose that front attacker, though. I think it's a 2-on-1 now, Maddie. 2 attackers. Nope, still 3 attackers left. 3 attackers left for SLT. Only 1 player left alive.
An interesting battle, though, back and forth here, Rich, on both sides of the field, but just playing a little bit smarter and a little bit tighter here. SLT is going to take this one. A major penalty going to be assessed on that last player on Hostile Ground. That
was a real bad penalty. It was a 3-on-1. He went to bunker the guy, didn't get him, get shot, just kept on going to try to get him. And now they're going to start off short next point, I'm assuming, because they had no bodies left to pull. And that's a mental mistake there, Matty.
Yeah, that definitely is a mental mistake, especially because, look, you're down 1 already. Now you're in a tough spot, low body situation.
You're not supposed to win.
You're not supposed to win that one. Tries the offensive move in a defensive position. We love to see that. It works out quite often, more than you would think when you're first getting into the game. But drawing that major penalty, and since there was no one left to pull, that is going to affect them on the next point. So now they're going to be down by 2 and down bodies.
Well, and 100%, Matty, he beat the guy in front of him in the snake because that guy was looking inside, but he had a buddy standing up right next to him, and he didn't beat him. He caught him. So he made a good move, and he could have gone through if the second guy hadn't caught him. Again, it'll be 2 minutes now until the teams get back out. They're going to go back, clean those hits off, tell some lies about how many people they shot or how many referees shooted them.
That's weird because you said you shot 2, and then you also shot 2, and then how did he shoot 3? Because that...
Guys, I understand the problem. We're playing against 9 or 10 players every time.
Yeah, that's a common phenomenon.
Yeah, it's funny how you go through your teams and you always have that that guy who does this, that guy who does that, the guy who always gets a penalty but never cheats, the guy who always shoots everybody.
It's weird how that works out.
Yeah.
So,
and it's weird how they keep telling the same stories.
Yeah, so 2 points for SLT, the boys from Utah, looking pretty good here against Hostile Ground, coming out of Minnesota. And again, both these teams have pretty decent in the NXL. SLT's always seems to be relevant, 5th, 2nd, and a 3rd past 3 years, but only played Vegas. Hostile Ground was able to put a win on the board, though, in Chicago of 2017, but the 22nd that they took in Vegas in 2020, obviously not the look that they wanted. So, both these teams are probably going to, or look, every team wants to show up and win the tournament.
Dominate.
But right now, SLT is looking a little bit better than Hostile Ground. Still 7 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. That last one was pretty interesting because it was definitely a little bit of a war of attrition, battles going on, but just better survivability for SLT with those 3 bodies alive.
Right. Well, and if SLT gets those 2 guys, doesn't get shot, they win that point, and they start with 5 bodies, but that didn't happen, so now it's like they start with 3.
Yeah, which is
probably going to cost them another point.
You're in a low point. If you're the last guy left alive, you cannot be getting a major penalty. trying to roll the dice on a crazy move.
Not when you're down points.
No, exactly. I mean, it's not ideal when you're up points. It's never ideal, but it's even worse when you're
not
down
going to get that
points.
player of the event award that way.
So they're starting with 3, and they're going to lose 1 immediately. They're going to lose 2. Oh my God!
fair,
They get
though.
another penalty. That's the quickest point.
To be fair, though, they started with 3. One of their guns was off, right? So you can't count that guy. And the other guy got a penalty, so really hard to count any of those guys.
Composure, gentlemen. Composure.
Let's not lose our composure out here, guys.
So now,
will that be 3-0?
Yeah, 3-0 here, and just 1 more point needed for SLT to make this the quickest game that we have seen out here this weekend.
Well, the one takeaway
on Friday, not quite the weekend yet.
that Hostile Ground can say is that.
What's the takeaway?
I'm not thinking.
Sounds like Mercer's going with this one. This is
the one takeaway. I mean, they played well.
The one takeaway is don't get penalties.
Don't get penalties.
Well, and this is look at again, we're talking about paintball all the time, so we're going to be saying similar things if you guys watch us. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's important when you get penalties are penalties, but when you get the penalty is
why
there's a lot of nuance there. It's not just every penalty is the same.
Nope.
When
you go in and you have that conversation with your coach or your team, you have to be like, listen, this is why I got the penalty, and they have to be like, I'm really disappointed you got the penalty, but okay.
Well, and again, it magnifies the importance of penalties when you're dealing with less points. So, we're in D4, so there's less time to work with than, pro, semi-pro, and also the mercy rule is less, 4-point mercy rule. So,
and the refs are a little bit more on the ball.
The refs are very much on the ball here. We have seen this has been a penalty-ridden Friday morning so far. So we'll see if the teams do adjust to the strict refereeing. We've seen a couple calls that were missed out here. The referees definitely got that call on the Killers right that they missed. So I like the refereeing we're seeing. We haven't seen, I think, any ridiculously blown calls yet. So, but sometimes the refs are going to be but we, they're being a little strict out there.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job, man. Bobby runs a tight ship.
So again, you got to play. You got to play the conditions. You got to play the refs too. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there that's outside of your control, right? If you're on the side with the sun in your eyes, that sucks. If the referees are on you, that sucks. But everyone's got the same to deal with. You just got to deal with it better than they do.
All right. Hostile Ground.
Hostile Ground's got to come,
Very big deficit here for a D4 matchup. Down by 3, just 1 more point needed from SLT.
They need to win about a point every 2 minutes, right? I like that inside move, Matty. Oh, he got caught.
Yeah,
I like it less now.
Well, so Hostile Ground was able to get into D3 off the break and shut that inside lane down. So, unfortunately for...
He might be caught now. He's the second guy. No, he got like forward.
He's going to get up into D4. So Hostile Ground playing offensive on that D side. Worked out for him, getting that kill.
Yeah, man, I think this is an offensive field. Obviously, every field can be played offensively and defensively. Some play better,
but some more than others.
Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty offensive field. I feel like you can move down both tapes pretty easily, and if you're isolated on one tape or the other, you can't cross it up.
Well, a good cross field spread now with this body here into Snake 3 for SLT. They are down 1 body, though, and now getting into the 40-yard line wedge. They're on the Snake side, Hostile Ground, trying to make something happen here, Rich.
Yeah, they're down a body, but they're up 3 points, so there's very little pressure right now on SLT, other than just not make a mistake, right? Oh, and he comes over the top and catches that player for Hostile Ground. That's really going to be, and he goes forward after he does it. Great move there from the SLT player. Gotta like all that. Now he's trying to shoot across, attack the blind shot.
I think SLT lost one of their bodies from the drill side. Yeah, he's walking off, doing a slow walk off.
They do have one over there, Matty, in Dorito 4, so I think there's still 3 players left from SLT. He's blocked, I think, from you by that big-ass wing.
Yeah, I see him. Now that he's up on his knees a little bit. This player here in the wedge got to be real careful because that D3 has a shot over the brick if he gets too high.
And it looks like he might crawl into where we saw that last guy crawl.
So I'm wondering, guys really need to start checking off on that lane, though. Okay, it looks like he did. So he actually crawled up to try to get that shot cross field on that lane.
That's way better than just crawling in there and getting assassinated by him.
But that's the correct move.
Yeah, for sure.
Crawls to the inside, checks off on it before he continues to go forward, because once he goes forward, he cannot hide up there. We've seen guys die a decent amount making that move here in the Snake. And see, there's our guy we're talking about right now in the Snake. Yeah, he's looking like he wants to push forward.
Yeah, he got the key kill on the guy in front of him. Now he's just been staying alive and playing well against the guy across the field from him. Oh, the second player moves in on the drill side, the inside wing, Matty. He's going to be battling with him in the Snake wing. Oh, looks like he got him.
Yeah, but
Oh, look.
he's going to get that free crossfield kill here past the 50-yard line right now for hostile ground.
Heads up play on hostile ground player over
But
there.
not before a couple bodies have come off from that side. So I think he's by himself on an island here past the 50-yard line. And that is going to do it, as there was just one player left alive for SLT. They're not going to be able to get the Mercy Rule win quite yet, as Hostile Ground puts their first point on the board with just 2 bodies alive. So it did cost them some bodies pushing forward, but this is not 10-man. It doesn't matter how many live bodies you have. All that matters is hitting that buzzer.
Yeah, and they've got 4.5 left, Matt. They still got plenty of time to get back in this match if they so choose to.
Yeah, now only down by 2. And just a much more efficient offensive look here for Hostile Ground. Knew that they, and even, okay, you're on the verge of a Mercy Rule loss, but there's a lot of time to work with, but they just never took their foot off the gas pedal on that D side, flooding bodies through there. And unfortunately for SLT, though their player here on the Snake side I thought was doing a competent job, he just didn't see that move up. Again, aggression working out because
he got so focused on the guy he killed, he didn't miss the other guy he was messing with.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's just they were flooding multiple bodies up on that D side. So even though he was constantly checking off and trying to keep tabs on that player, then when he did refocus here and what was in front of him, just didn't see that move up, and he just unfortunately turned his head at the wrong time, caught a couple across the field, and that was the big offensive move for Hostile Ground that ended up being that was the move that made that point for him.
Yep.
So now, yeah, I mean, 436, only down by 2. Now I'm wondering, is Hostile Ground going to continue to play like they did that last one, or go back to a little bit more traditional breakout, or more traditional secondaries? I think they have to continue.
Or will SLT decide not to sit back and play passively and play aggressively to try to get back in the game how they won the first 2 points?
Yeah, they lost just a couple bodies there, and those 2 early deaths kind of cost them. Will definitely cost them, even though, as I say, kind of because their Snake player was doing some damage over here and presenting a big threat. But that it is, as people are starting to learn this field, they're watching games on the sidelines and doing some scouting on what's working for game plans. But yeah, man, offense on the Snake side, we saw that on the Killers. The Killers looked phenomenal out here by pushing the Snake side and then having also guys on the D side, when those guns shift, making big moves. But the initial thrust of aggression was here Snake side. The D side's been very potent. We've seen lots of points won through that D side. The center not so much. The center still is kind of a big wasteland.
Vacuum.
Yeah, it's not quite the zone of death yet, but we're definitely seeing some guys get up and take ground in the center, but not be able to do much with it.
Yeah. If you get up there early, you can get up there alive. If you try to get up there later, they smoke you. But we haven't seen anybody go up there successfully and either play offensively or defensively for those positions.
But I'm still waiting for some guys to lock the zones up properly once they get up in that center. For instance, so if you do make the big move, cutting through the inside and making the transition into the big brick here, Snake side, run at the tower and then get out. If you get out there before they make it into D3, then you can watch that lane. The tough thing is that you have to be up on that zone the whole time. You can't protect yourself once that guy gets into that spot. You're going to have to do a tactical retreat or jump over. And it's not a huge gap to watch. But guys have been getting shot by kind of just ignoring that gap, and then the guy will get through and get that shot. And that brick in the center, a little bit different story there, but that's again, another spot where unless you're over 6 foot tall, you can't play the whole position. And it really, again, and then there's the towers also kind of suck once you get up. And
the can.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the center on this field, but big fan of the D side and a big fan of the Snake side.
Oh, that was an early death right there. Man, the guy from Hostile Ground took 2 steps and caught one. That was a really good shot on the break. At the same time, though, SLT is attacking both on the Snake side and the Drill side. They lose their second attacker on the Snake side, so 4-on-4 here, Maddie. Great fill out to the corner for the Hostile Ground. Lost the first Snake guy. Adapted, fill out to the corner. They got 3 across the back. One now pushing into 3-4 over there. At the same time, SLT moves into the Snake.
Oh, minor penalty going to be assessed here on Hostile Ground. Back corner bunker on the Snake side of the field. Pulls out their back center player.
Pulls out their whole Snake side, Maddie.
Yeah, that's not what they needed right here. Trying to come back with under 4 to go. 3:52 on the clock.
And if the SLT guy can figure out, there's 2 guys over here for SLT on the Snake side. If they can figure out there's no one on this side of the field, they're going to really turn this game around. But the guy in the God position right now is just holding his gun over nobody.
Look at this battle here developing on the D side of the field.
Another player taking a walk for Hostile Ground.
And then that's going to make their last player just kind of bait to get run down, and that is going to do it here. So SLT going to continue to spread this lead out, take another 3-point lead.
Yeah, 4-1 with a little over 3 minutes left.
So the mercy rule back in effect. 4-point mercy rule here in D4. Interesting, though, because when both these teams had a tie in their initial games.
Yep.
So we didn't really know which way to call it as far as the advantage went.
I mean, I knew, but I didn't want to say.
Well, and again, when you go back and look at the past results from these teams, also kind of tough to call because they both had a mixed bag of success and not success. So
and some of those successes were dated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, divisional, down in the divisionals. If you had a win back in 2017, the team could be completely different in 2021.
For me, though, this is good. Like, I like learning all these new names, all the new players, all the new teams. Like, you know, who are the guys I can watch out for, the up-and-coming guys. Because I always get that question when I go around, like, hey, Rich, who's the next, like, up-and-coming dude? And you're like, on the pro squad or, like the up-and-coming pro guy? You know, like, divisional. You're like, oh, dude, there's 1,000 of them out there. I don't know.
They're literally thousands.
They all look like they're the next good guy.
Yeah, you go to World Cup and there's 4,000 paintball players there.
But,
and then we get one look at them on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and it used to be like you could just look at a guy and be like, okay, he's definitely not going to be good because, you know, he's 400 pounds, 7 feet tall, whatever. Now everyone's kind of athletic. Everyone looks like a good paintball player. It's hard to pick them out. No one's got Tippmans anymore.
Yeah. So we got about 37 seconds to go to see if Hostile Ground can stave off this mercy rule loss. This would be a nice one for SLT on the point spread if they could get a mercy rule win here, as they did tie their first game.
Yeah, and again, so many of these points, Maddie, are coming down to the breakouts. You know, up or down on bodies, up and down in position. Breakouts and penalties.
Yeah.
Breakouts and penalties.
So many penalties. And it has been a little bit of a bloodbath field on the break. We haven't seen a ton of 5-on-5 breaks. It's not been the most bloodbath field we've ever seen on the break, but it is a bit of a risk.
It's a bit dicey out there. It's a bit dicey. Here we go. Oh, I like that big run right to the 50 snake, Maddie.
SLT, even with a big lead, taking the risk, run that inside route to the 50 brick.
Oh, he misses his shot, though. He misses his shot. They went right to Dorito 3 through his gun, Maddie.
Well, what did we just talk about? We literally just talked about that. If you're going to make that big move, you have to watch that gap.
Oh,
did he get him on the second gap?
Nope, he missed him again.
See, now he's in a real tough spot. No one's been able really to live tucked in that.
Yeah, he should hide
into that angle. And that's going to set him up to get shot in the back, too. He might be able to jump over and keep himself alive. Oh, see, and he's going to get shot and get a penalty. We literally just talked about this. But SLT using that as a diversion to run through and maybe shoot everyone from that D side. And it looks like he's going to be able to do it to put the finishing touches on this one. So even with the penalty, it's not going to matter. SLT's D side gets it done.
But again, let's try to avoid those penalties, guys. Let's not make it any easier on the other team than we have.
It was on purpose as a diversion, Rich.
Dude, get a penalty, create a bunch of chaos, let me blow down the Dorito side.
Well, as we were watching that go down in the center, Hostile Ground must have lost
a decent
amount of players
bodies,
off the break or very quickly thereafter.
SLT looking really good here, Maddie.
Well, the referee is stopping for a second to ask for a second opinion on a potential hit.
Could be a no hang.
That could make things a little bit different here.
Although they do have 4 bodies out there. See what happens. So, you know, if you're watching this and you got a little extra time, if you're going to hang the flag and you're up by 3 points and there's a lot of time left and you have 3 players left alive in the field, ask for a paint check. Confirm that you don't have a hit on you before you, oh, he did get the point. Because sometimes you hang it, you don't know, and you got a hit on you. It could be an old hit, could be a new hit, but there's no reason to do that when you have a lot of time, a big lead, and 3 other players left on the field.
Well, that is going to do it. Thumbs up. Call from the referee. The point is good, and the win is going to go to SLT. So,
good job, guys.
Boys from Utah, again, with a little bit of a skeleton squad. They only had 6 players on the roster. Able to get a big mercy rule win here against Hostile Ground. So thank you guys so much for joining us here. We're going to be heading into the D2 competition. It's going to be all D2, the highest division here this afternoon, starting off with the Dead Rabbits taking on the Cartel Kids, and then DMPP Detox taking the field for the first time against Arsenal. So we're going to be back here. More action coming at you. The 2020 NXL Lone Star Amateur Open. I'm Matty Marshall with Rich Telford. We will be back.